structural equation modeling for today and tomorrow. So we will just take some few minutes, 5 minutes, then we can continue from where we want to start, that is today's activity. Since last week, we looked at the exploratory factor analysis, which we said is used to reduce dimension within data sets. So once we've been able to reduce the dimension within the data set, and you want to confirm the dimension that has already been created or has been created, you can move on to the confirmatory factor analysis to confirm that, yes, indeed, the dimension that you have within your data set is really true as the exploratory factor analysis technique indicated. We did a lot of things from the different rotation algorithms to the extractions, and then to also do some kind of regression aspect of it, being able to combine the various items under each construct. Then we use the indicator, or we use the constructs to do the multiple regression analysis. As I said, that is one of the laziest way to do that kind of analysis. So if you have a better technique that will be able to put all these items together, why don't you use that? So that is what we are going to look at: exploratory factor, confirmatory factor analysis. So if there is no question, I think we have our 4 minutes. If you have question based on what we did last week concerning the exploratory factor analysis, you can bring it on board. You have 4 minutes, then we can start. If there is a question, we answer it in brief, then we can move on to today's activity.
It appears, yeah, it appears most of the participants are on mute. So,
yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. But the previous recordings are there, so at least just upon a request, you'll be given. Yeah, but for those who were around, the question is meant for you. If you have a question, you can bring it on board so that we discuss it. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so let me ask you.
All right.
So what is the link between confirmatory factor analysis and structural equation modeling? Is it that
all right,
like if before you do confirmatory, you have to do exploratory? So is it that before you do structural equation modeling, you also have to do confirmatory before? Or if they are on their separate ways, or whether there's a relationship between them?
Is that if you can come again before you do?
Okay, so last week we understood that it is possible to do exploratory factor analysis without confirmatory.
Yes.
And then before you can do confirmatory factor analysis, you should have done your exploratory before. Is that also correct?
Yes,
or partially correct?
it is. You can do that because they are, let's say, two different techniques. But for you to be able to be abreast with the kind of items that you have, okay, like the data that we use regarding the personality traits, you could see that there is no dimension within that data set. It was just a raw 44 items questions. So you have no, let's say, construct within. So you need to be able to determine which items can be mapped onto or correlate with a particular, let's say, component. So if you're able to do the exploratory factor analysis, you get to know that, okay, as you have 4 or 5 dimensions within the data set, and these are the dimensions, dimension or component 1, component 2, component 3. If you can give the name, as we tried last week, if you can give a name to the various components, that is fine. Other than that, you just left it as it is, and then you take it to the exploratory confirmatory. By then, you've been able to know that, okay, 4 or 5 items correlate well with component 1, or 3 items correlate well with component 2, or 3 and 4, and so on. So that is one of the ways that you can do. So it is good. If you have no idea about your items, it is appropriate for you to do the exploratory. Get to know the various components, and then you can use those various components to the confirmatory analysis. Yeah, and I also did mention that if you want to stop at exploratory by performing or collapsing all the items and then performing a normal regression, I said it is one of the laziest approach, because the model that you are coming out needs to be validated. It needs to be reliable. So if you don't pass through all this technique, how then will you be able to say that this model fits well to this data that you've gathered? That is why we are saying that if you are coming out with a theory, you are coming out with a model that someone can also base on to do something. Go through all these kind of measurement, okay? Validate your model, ensure that it is working as it's supposed to. The variables within the model are independent. Once we're able to go through all this, at the end of the day, I don't think you should have problems. So anytime there is a kind of hypothesis testing and you want to validate it, then I would say that it is appropriate for you to go through the confirmatory analysis.
Okay.
All right.
Please, can I ask one issue? Now,
okay.
let's assume that there is a theory, and based on that theory, we have a set of questionnaire, for example, and so you want to adopt that in your study. So basically, this will require that you do a confirmatory factor analysis also.
Oh yes, if that is what you want to establish a relationship, the most important thing is to test a hypothesis. That is the most important thing. But before you are able to test the hypothesis, or the hypothesis that you have designed based on the model, the conceptual framework that you have,
yes,
and you would have gone through all the necessary things. Check the model adequacy, check the indices, everything right. Convergent validity is okay, discriminant, everything is okay. Then based on that, you can check or you can test your hypothesis. So without you going through the various steps, in fact, the test of hypothesis is the last thing that you do. Because if the model is not, it comes out that the model is not adequate, it is not reliable, you can't test your hypothesis. So if you are adopting someone's model, fine, at all times we adopt people's concept, yes, fine. and you want to implement it within your area or maybe a particular area, take the same instrument. If you want to modify it one way or the other, you can do that. And then at the end of the day, try and validate the model, go through all the necessary things, present it. Then at the end of the day, you can also say that that model would be appropriate to fit the data that you have gathered within your study area. Yeah.
That's fine.
Any other question? Okay. So I think we can take away the video, and then maybe the video we can move to audio, and then we watch. All right, so I'm going to share the slides. Okay, so we are looking at structural equation modeling. So it is one of the statistical technique that is mainly used in the test of hypothesis. That is the main idea behind the technique. The main idea behind the technique. There are some basic things that we need to know. I think these ones are, I sent it to you via your emails. Some basic concepts, latent variables, what they are, and so on. All right. So the latent variables, they are those variables that we cannot easily measure. We cannot measure. For instance, if you want to measure motivation, how do you measure motivation? You can't easily measure motivation. You need to be able to measure it through a series of items or questions before you be able to determine that someone is motivated about something. Okay. And these are some of the basic exogenous and then endogenous variables. They are just variable names that we assign. One for independent, exo for independent, and then the endo for dependent variables. Okay. Now we have types of the factor analysis, the type of factor analysis, which are the exploratory, which we looked at it, and then the confirmatory analysis, which we are looking at it today. So the exploratory, we have already mentioned about it in our previous lesson. So I won't go there again. Okay, so we move on. So the confirmatory. So the confirmatory is appropriately used when the researcher has some knowledge of the underlying latent variable structure. So based on knowledge of theory. Yes. One thing that we must know is this technique is appropriate when you have theories underlying your study. So you can't just take certain items and then, or questions, and then you begin to do exploratory factor analysis, like confirmatory factor analysis. So it is based on theories. So if you are doing something on employees' performance, you need to get theories on employees' performance. What are some of the things that motivate someone to perform? You need to know all those things. These are the approach that you can use based on theories. Okay. So this side is the model side, but when we start it, you get to know it better. All right. So I'm just moving on. These are just some illustrations. Okay. Now, there are so many instances that someone will say, I'm fitting a model to a data set using the technique confirmatory or CFA, but I'm not getting the things right. Yes, you are not getting the things right because of some challenges within the study. It could be that the indices or the questions that you are asking, there is no consistency in the response that were provided by the respondent. And there are so many things, or you have items that are not contributing or are not loading well within the data set. And as a result, you can either reject the entire model or find means and ways to ensure that the model becomes adequate. So for instance, this is a typical structural model that someone would like to maybe observe or maybe try to study. So you have a kind of job search as a dependent variable, and then you have supervision, work environment, co-workers, and then job satisfaction, whether all these variables can lead to job search. So if you could see the first two, the first three, this, and that, they are determining or they are moving towards job satisfaction. It means that if you have good supervision at the workplace, the environment is also good, and then you have a good relation with your colleagues at the workplace, will it have some kind of impact on your satisfaction level? And then at the end of the day, someone would also find out and see if job satisfaction has some kind of significant impact on job search. If I am satisfied with my job that I'm doing, will I move to go and look for a different work at a different place? It is a kind of study that someone would also like to do. So this is a kind of a simple structural model that you can use, a simple one that you can use for your study. Okay. And before you do these things, it means you have done a lot of literature review. What are some of the variables that can contribute to job search? You've done everything, and it came out that these are the various constructs. Now, these are the kind of constructs that we talk of. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 constructs. But remember, you can't just determine the supervision level of the institution unless you ask the respondent some series of questions. So you can decide to ask 5 questions here. You can decide to ask 6 questions here. You can decide to ask 7 questions here. And also decide to also ask, let's say, 3 questions, and then over here to 4. But there are some instances that you can also determine that you are not going to ask any question over here, but you are only going to link them. If you have it like that, an instance whereby this variable here, we are seeing it as a kind of a mediating or a middle number, or let's say a middle variable. Yes, you can see it as such, or someone can also see it as a dependent variable on its own. So you have a dependent DV and then another DV here. So you can decide not to ask any questions here. And there is an approach to do that. It is called a second order modeling, a second order. So that one, you need to turn all the arrows. The arrows needs to turn the way we see it. The way it is moving from here to this side, it will turn the other way around. Then it means that this particular construct has no items or has no questions. But you want to find out if these 3 variables can measure job satisfaction. In fact, if you should put all this in together, it should lead to job satisfaction. But we still want to find out if there are some questions under job satisfaction that we want to use. We still want to go ahead and use it. So that is that. So it's not at all time that we should be asking questions for the various constructs, supervision, this, that, and leaving this. You can leave this one. If you think there are no questions that can measure job satisfaction, you can leave it. And then this one also, you can also decide not to ask any questions here. So use this one as also a second order construct. Okay, so that is that for the simple model. Okay. So the estimated, this is a kind of a regression. As I said earlier on, the structural modeling, it is a higher version of the normal linear regression model. It is a higher order. It is a higher order model. It is a higher order model. So at all times, if the normal regression fails you, because the normal regression will only take a univariate kind of questions or univariate items, it will not be appropriate to host or let's say do this kind of study. So if you have such instance, then the best technique that you can use is the SEM approach, because the SEM is able to combine the various questions that you have, and then at the end of the day gives you an output. So that is for the normal regression, as you see over here. As you see over here. So it's just an ordinary normal regression. Here to this. This one is telling you that supervision, the impact that supervision has on job satisfaction is approximately, let's say, 6%. If you take it from work environment job satisfaction, it is contributing about 22%. And then co-workers to job satisfaction is also influencing, let's say, co-workers they are influencing job satisfaction of approximately 45%. And these are the various covariants that we have. All right. Covariance is also a kind of association that you also can establish. I guess that it is not standardized. So mostly, if you want a more standardized approach, then we resort to the correlation for the interpretation, for easy interpretation of the results. Okay, so let's assume that you've been able to do all this hard thing. You've been able to fit your model, everything is intact. You have checked everything, realize that it is okay. So once you've been able to fit it, the next thing is then you have to look for the various ways that you can use to validate your model. Validate your model. So we have the model validity tests. We have series of them. There are a lot of them that we use for the validating of the model. Now, the overall one is the chi-square test of approximation, or the chi-square test. The chi-square test, it is one of the big techniques that it's applied in most higher statistics or statistical applications. So we use that one to determine the overall fit of the model. But in most cases, it is not easy for you to get a perfect or a good fit for your data set. And that doesn't mean that if the chi-square fails you, you end it there by not being able to do other form or continue with your analysis. What you need to do is you need to look for other relative fit indices. There are certain indices that you also use to supplement the work of the chi-square test. So if the chi-square test fails you, you need to look for the other techniques to be able to validate your model. Why is it that the chi-square mostly fails? The chi-square takes so many things into consideration. If you could remember when you were looking at the exploratory factor analysis, we said that before you can use the exploratory factor analysis, you must ensure that the chi-square test of approximation or the approximate chi-square test it is significant, okay, because of the way it works based on the covariance approaches. So it means that before the chi-square can take its good shape, it needs to get a very good sample. It needs to get a very good sample. So if your sample size is not all that adequate, you will not get a perfect fit, or you won't get a better fit for your data. Even sometimes you can have observation of, let's say, 1,000, but still the chi-square test will fail you. So don't worry about the chi-square alone, but resort to other model fit indices and use it to validate your model. Okay. So the hypothesis for the chi-square test is that the NA is saying the model fits perfectly, or it fits well to the data. And then the alternative is it is not. That is the opposite of it. So ideally, we are looking for a big p-value for chi-square, a big p-value. So if you have a very big p-value for the chi-square, then that is perfect. But if you have it less than 0.05, then we see that the model do not fit the data well. So that is something that, some basic thing that we would look at. But just the theoretical aspect of it, you do the practical aspect for you to see. This one is just to guide you as to know some of the model fit indices that you can use. These are some of the other fit indices that we can use to validate the chi-square, the model. So you have the goodness of fit statistic. Mostly it takes values from 0 up to 1. So the higher the value of, that is your model, the model value, the better it is. So it takes these values from here, from 0 up to 1. So if you're able to get 0.9, then we can say that the model is doing well. And the next model fit index, or the relative fit index, is the root mean square error of approximation. This is one of the most popular one that mostly scientists, or let's say researchers, use in validating. At least if you should get this one right, and then you get 1 or 2 fit indices or relative fit indices attached to it, it's okay. You don't need to report all the other indices. You don't need to report all of them, and not all of them will be appropriate at that significant level. You will not get it. Okay, this one too is the non-fit index. It also takes values from 0 up to 1. If you should get 90 and above, then it's appropriate for that. Then we have the comparative fit index is also there. It's also there. Then we have the Lewis index. Lewis index, that one too is there. You can also use it to do the fit index, to check the model fit. Then you have the aging FI, the adjusted goodness of fit. It's also there. So there are a series of them that you can use. So as I said earlier on, it is not necessary to include every or all the indices within your model. At least some few ones will do. A few ones will do. At least the ones that you were able to get it right, you should report them. Not all of them, just some few of them. So some authorities have recommended some. These few ones that you can use. You can use this one to at least do your reporting. You can use few of them to do your reporting. So basically, these are some of the basic things that, in terms of the model adequacy, those are the indices. So I sent you a document, several documents on the what's the name, the how to do the reporting. So they are all there. They are all there. When you take some of the papers, you get to know most of them, and then also use it to do your modeling. Very, very important to do those kind of model fit adequacy tests. Now we call the validity and then reliability. Validity and reliability. So as the name suggests, validity, we have two types. We have the discriminant and then the convergent validity. So we will take time to look at each of them. So if you want to ensure that your items are reliable, then you should get what is called the Cronbach alpha. That is, if you are in the area of exploratory, use the Cronbach alpha. But authorities have also indicated that if you can use composite reliability index, that would be appropriate. Composite reliability or composite reliability, that would be appropriate. So that is that we will look at how to do the estimation of all these techniques. They are all important techniques that you can use to measure your reliability level instrument. Okay, so let's go through some of them. These are notes, so please, I will send. I think you have them, so we can skip some of them and then we begin with the main thing, so that if there is any question, we can visit the slide to answer. Okay, I hope it's fine.
It's okay.
Okay, all right. Or we should go.
It's fine with me.
Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the convergent validity. We have the convergent validity. The discriminant validity is also there, which I've explained each of them. Now this is another typical one, another typical example that you can also have. You have series of constructs here. So these are the constructs. You have constructs. This is one construct, another construct, and this particular construct has got about 5 questions here. This one has got 4 questions and so on. Okay, Auntie Jackie, your hand is up.
Yes, please.
Okay.
For the reliability.
Okay.
I read at the latter part that I'm not too sure, but I saw something like 0.6 may also be accepted.
Okay. Yeah. The reliability.
How do you explain that? What is the reason behind that?
Okay. Ideally, authorities have indicated that at least from 7 and above is appropriate. But if you get 1 or 2 of the items, the constructs, having reliability less than, let's say, 7, maybe you have 0.65, 0.66, or 0.67, I think it will be appropriate not to reject the entire model. But if almost all of them are below, let's say 60, 55, 40 there, then you have a problem. So that one could be as a result of the way and manner they answered the questions. So you need to take into consideration some of these things. Very, very important. Not rejecting the model entirely, everything based on just one construct with value of. 0 point, let's say 6. Okay, but you can still do it with it, and then just make a recommendation. It could be your shorts, or let's say your limitation or something. So you don't need to reject it entirely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Please, any question? Or we should move on. All right.
But please, is there any how do I say? Is there any authority backing that level, the 0.6?
Oh yes, there are so many.
Sorry.
The papers that I gave you. Okay. There are a lot of them there. There are a lot of them there. Anyone who writes anything in relation to structural equation modeling will definitely tell you some of these things. It is there. There are authorities there. Okay. So in instance whereby you are not getting the model fit indices right, you need to do what is called the modification. You need to be able to modify your items so that at the end of the items will look good. How do we do that? You just need to look at the loadings of each of the questions. So some of the questions, as we did in the exploratory factor analysis, if an item is not loading at least 50%, we drop such items. So once you are able to drop the items, it is likely that some of the indices or the model fit indices will increase. And once they increase at the end of the day, it is telling you that now your model is appropriate. So that is one of the ways that you can use. Okay, you can use the modification indices just to ensure that you have a very good model, dropping the items that are not loading well. There are so many approaches. Someone could decide to use the R-square, which examines how much each construct is or each item is making in the model. So if you want to use the R-square, that is fine. That the R-square is even more robust than the loading. So if you want to peg your items reduction based on R-square, then you can delete all items that are maybe loading less than 0.2 or 20%. Remove all of them, and then you rerun the model again and see its impact on the model. It is very, very important to do that. So we will look at all of them. We will look at them. So these are some of the things that I was talking of. These are some of the things that I was talking of in terms of the model fit indices. Okay. So we have the chi-square test. If you divide the chi-square over 8 degrees of freedom, you should get a value less than 3. If you get less than 3, that is fine. But if you are not, then there is a problem. But if you are fortunate and then the chi-square is statistically good, then you don't need to go ahead and be doing all these kind of things. If it is statistically good, maybe you have a chi-square of 0.08, 0.09, a very good value, at least greater than 0.05 or equal to, then that is perfect. You don't need to come and worry yourself with all this division here and there. Then straightforward, you can say that your model is good. If you have other fit indices, you can add them to it. Then you are free to go. So these are some of the, I don't know if it is clear enough, but you could see the absolute fits indices, they are here, and then that of the authorities. These are the authorities. You can see some of them there. Okay, you can see some of them there. So as you said, are there any authority in each of this area? They are there. Fidel is also there. He's one of the researchers who has written a lot of papers in this kind of area. So they are all there. They are all there for you to just guide you as to which one to use and which one not to use. Okay. Okay, so that is the post hoc test is you try to rerun the model over and over till you get a good model fit. All right, now, this is what we'll be looking at today. We have this nice model. We have this nice model. Okay, a model looking at these kind of constructs, this kind of constructs. This one is more of IT. IT. So we are looking at these kind of constructs and its impact on this. And then this particular construct will take it to this construct, which is trust. So we have the brand image moving to customer satisfaction. We have the responsiveness also moving to the customer satisfaction or satisfaction. We have the ease of use also there, and so on. So at the end of the day, we have, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have designed 7 main hypotheses that we want to find out if indeed, for instance, usefulness has got impact on customer satisfaction. If there is a product, you have a product in your organization or your institution, how useful is it? And if it is useful, is it satisfying the customer? And if the customer is satisfied based on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 construct, will it lead him to trust or her to trust the kind of product that we have? That is what we are saying. So you could see that all these models that you see is based on theory. So if you don't have a theory or if you don't have theoretical background to this, please don't come here. You cannot use this technique. So you need to go and look for theories under, let's say, website quality. Website quality is grouped into these 2. The mobile technology quality is also grouped into these 2. Then you have vendor quality also grouped into these 2. But I believe as at now, as at when this paper was done, as at now, I think there will be more improvement upon the various measurement or the construct. So you need to consult literature, get to know most of or more of this construct, and then you can decide the one that you want to use in your study. So that is a brief conceptual framework for this kind of study that we want to look at. So just have it in mind. We have questions on all this. At least we have 5 questions. I try getting 5 questions in each component, or let's say in each construct, 5 questions each. And then at the end of the day, we want to establish if there is a significant relationship from these constructs here to this. And then customer satisfaction will also move it to customer trust. So that is a simple, but not simple, a kind of model that we have for this kind of study.
So Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Do you say you have 30 questions in all?
Yes, so we have 5. Yes, please.
You have 30 questions.
Yes.
Okay. So does that constitute, so you mean that in the form of hypothesis?
I think 40, the question should be, this side is taking 5, this side is taking 5, this side is taking 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
What kind of questions? Can we see examples of the questions?
Okay, let me show you. All right, let me show you that particular paper. I think you also, so let me show you the paper.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Please, I hope you can see. Hello.
Hi. Asari.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can scroll or can you scroll to the down
Okay, down. Okay, all right, all right. So this is the paper that I picked the framework from.
Okay.
So just look at it the way it was presented. So under his literature, he has questions, or he tried to review literature on perceived quality of mobile services, and then trust, that is looking at the various constructs. Then under the website quality is also the mobile technology quality. Also try to say something about it. And you see, in this case, you try to state a hypothesis. If you can see, there is a hypothesis here.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
at the end of day, after finishing everything, then he tried to put it in this framework form. And this,
Okay.
Can see you.
oh, you can see. Wow. But is it okay now?
Maybe that's how far technology can take us.
But is it too small?
No, it shows.
You can't see at all anything.
Oh, we can see.
Now we can see. We can see. Just that
Okay now.
the font size is so small, but it's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. That's better. That's better. That's better.
Okay. All right. Okay. So this is. Let me start from the top. This is the name of the paper, or let's say the topic. This is the title of the paper, and then this is the author. I've been following this man a lot. In fact, these people, Malaysia guys, they write papers a lot. Yeah. So this is how he presented his paper. He reviewed something on perceived quality, as I said, the trust, and then website quality, then mobile technology quality, vendor satisfaction, and then at the end of the day, he has this final framework. He has this final framework. So you could see all the various constructs moving to customer satisfaction, and then customer satisfaction moving to customer trust in vendor. So this is, let's say, a summary of the entire work. At the end of the day, this is all that the person is looking at. But how do we do all these kind of things? So let me show you the questions. These are the questions. Yes, these are the questions that he sent out. So under the interactivity, he has this. Then customization too is there. Then usefulness is there, ease of use, responsiveness, and then the brand image, then satisfaction level, and then trust. But I try adding one or two things to it so that I can get 555 because of modification. Now the reason why you see some of them are 3 and 2 is as a result of the modification that he did. The modification that he did. Based on the modification. So I'm also saying that, at the end of the day, you get to know that after your modification, you get to know that not all the instrument or the items to be maintained. Some of them will go away because they are not significant in the model. So that is why we see that some of them are even reduced to 2. Usefulness, for instance, is 2. And then satisfaction too is also 2. It's because some of the items were not loading. That is why. So if you can't get a good, or if you can do a very good review, you will get to know where he took all his questions from. Okay. Satisfaction in the market depends on transaction experiences. I believe strongly that if you are able to go look for this particular paper, you get to know instruments. So it's like a kind of combining question from various sources for you to be able to get what you want. So it is very, very important for you to also do same. I hope I've answered you. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So any questions so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's continue.
We should continue.
Yes, Isaac. Let's continue.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So once you've been able to do all these things, then you've been able to determine which are your dependent, which are your independent. If you have a moderating or whatever variable, or you want to fit a multi-group kind of variable in it, you do all these things somewhere. It could be in your literature. Others also prefer it to be in the methodology. If it is a paper that you are writing, a paper 12 pages or 15 pages or 10 pages, you try as much as possible to position it very well so that you can get all the information. So now let's take the software. Now we are going to use...
So this customer satisfaction here is serving as a mediating variable. Is that right?
Okay, with this particular one, it is just ordinary.
This...
With this particular one, it is just ordinary independent variable here. Okay. With this kind of paper, as this paper.
No, you mean the customer satisfaction with the vendor is an independent variable?
I mean, from here to this side.
Yeah.
If you take it from here to this side, it becomes an independent variable. But as it stands here, it is a dependent variable to this.
Okay.
To these questions.
Okay.
But as this paper is, or let's say, as this paper is concerned, it's just ordinary dependent variable to this, and then an independent variable to customer trust. Are you okay?
So so there's no mediating variable in this conceptual framework?
No, this particular paper, the writer did not talk about anything of that sort.
Okay.
There's nothing like that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let's take the software. So we'll be using the structure, the analysis of moment of structures. Analysis of moment of structures, that is AMOS. That is what we will use for this study. Analysis of moment of structures, AMOS. So the AMOS works hand in hand with the SPSS. In fact, they are all from the same company, the IBM company or corporation. They are all from there. And the structural equation is solely meant for, or the AMOS is solely meant for this kind of interrelationship that exists between constructs. So I know some of you might not have the software, but at the end of the day, you get it. I'll show you how you can get the software. You will get it, and then you can also follow it from there based on the video or the recording. Once it's available, you will be given. So you would.
Can you find this also in the Stata software?
Yes, Stata has a component of structural equation aspect, but it depends on the flexibility.
Okay.
The flexibility. Aha.
Okay.
Our can do that. Our software can do that. But
okay.
most of them, you need to go through a lot of process before you get your results. So mostly people want to focus on a simple one that can, at least you just click something and then you get it done.
So this is best done with Amos.
Oh yeah, we have Amos and we have the PLS, the smart PLS.
Okay.
Yes, but the difference is that the smart PLS is good when you have smaller sample size. But the Amos is appropriate when you have larger samples.
So a sample size of about 60 observations. What? 60 observations.
60, then the PLS is appropriate.
PLS is appropriate.
Yes. If it is 60, the Amos will not give you better results.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't give you a better result.
Okay.
But still, it's a decision. So people can also say that, well, I have 60 observations. I want to make a conclusion. So it's debatable. In between
Okay.
the authorities or the users of Amos and then that of PLS, they try to battle things out. But at the end of the day, we are all saying the larger the sample, the better the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I missed out on the Amos. What is it?
Yeah, it's analysis of movement of structures.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Used to do what?
Yeah, that is what is used to establish the interrelationship between the constructs.
Okay.
I think that is what we are come to do, so you get to know.
Ah, okay.
All right. So I'm going to launch my Amos. I have installed it. So once you installed it, it's embedded in SPSS. So you just click on Analyze, and then you see the IBM SPSS Amos.
Do you have the PLS also embedded in SPSS?
No, please.
So where do you find that?
Yeah, with the PLS, the last time I use it, I have to buy. So that one, it is not as free as the Amos.
Okay.
Yeah, with this, the PLS, you can buy it for 30 days. If you want to use it to do 1 or 2 works, you can buy it for 30 days. Use it to do all the work that you want to do. After the 30 days, then they take the license.
It expires. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how many dollars?
Oh, something small, like $15 or $20. Something small.
Like small is relative.
Like $20.
Okay, that's okay.
All right.
So let's carry on.
All right. So I click on IBM SPSS Amos, and then it opens. So now it is opening. I have version 23. I thought the 26, but because I did not have the license, I could not use it. Okay. Please, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so this is a typical example how to fit or give the diagrammatical representation of your construct. So as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 constructs, and then each construct has.
Please, we can't see you.
We can see your screen. We can't see your arrow. We can't see the cursor.
We can only see the data.
You can see the screen.
We can
see your
only see the data. Yeah.
Hey, no.
Hello.
No.
Please, can you see something like leadership?
No.
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 All right, then let me share. Okay. All right, sorry. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Oh, not
Yeah,
yet.
we can see.
Some diagram.
You
Can you
can
see
see a
leadership here?
complex conceptual
Yeah,
set
yeah,
of.
yeah. Okay, we can.
All right, even this is very simple.
Okay.
This is the simplest of all.
Spider's web. The spider's web.
Yes, maybe later on I'll show you some of the complex ones. Yeah, so
Okay.
you realize that this construct called leadership has 9 items. Now we are saying items, not questions.
Okay.
So 9 items here. Performance has 5 items. Then reward 2 has 4 items. Spirit is also having 4 items. And then trust is having 4 items. This study is all about looking at team management approaches to project success or project management success. So you have these various constructs. These are the constructs that we are talking of: trust, spirits. This is team spirit. This is team trust, team spirit, reward, and recognition. This is team leadership, and this is project success or performance. So I just try to shorten it in this format. So at the end of the day, you are looking at the relationship that exists between the various constructs that we have. So that is something small. And as you can see, if the arrow is moving from this side, trust to performance, it is a correlation. Trust to performance is correlation. Spirit to performance, correlation. Leadership to performance is correlation. Reward to performance is also correlation. Now, an instance whereby you have something like, if you can look at her, if you have something like this, it is called covariance. Covariance. The arrow is from this side to that. It is called covariance or covariance. So that is the difference between the two. Straight line is correlation. Straight line correlation. If it is from this side to this point, it becomes covariance. And it depends on how or maybe what you want to do with your variables or your construct. If you want to establish covariance between the item, that is fine. But I must say that it is very, very important to establish covariance first. Establish covariance first so that you can get certain kind of, you can test what is called the discriminant validity. If you want to ensure that are independent, there is a need for you to ensure that all of them are independent. And how do you do that? You need to perform a covariance to establish that kind of relationship. It is very, very important to note that. But as I said, we will get there. Once we get to the other side, it will come out for you to see. So this is a simple model path diagram that you can use.
Socket no round. Oh. It's not Hanumati, man.
Let me mute. Okay.
All right.
You can mute,
Go and bring this thing. Go and bring it. Come on.
mute all. Okay. All right. Please, is it okay up to this point?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So can you help us now to link what we discussed earlier, the exogenous, the endogenous variables? Can we identify them here?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So please, you can mute yourself if you want to. You can mute yourself. If you have a question, you just raise your hand. Okay. But at the end of the day, we are recording, so it might affect the quality of the work. So if you have questions, you just raise your hand and then you ask. Thank you very much. All right, so yes. Now, if you look at the various types, the various different variable names. If I talk about the variable names, that is what you were saying, endo, and then the exo, the construct, the items, and all. They are just a name that we give it to. Now, one name that you can use to, okay, because I previously looked at that. What is the meaning of exogenous variable? Remember, I showed it on the screen. Just to see if you are following.
Okay. I think you said the exogenous variables are similar to the independent variables. And then the endogenous variables are the dependent variables.
Okay. I think we need to get those the names right. But don't worry, the name will not do anything to, it will not affect the work.
Okay.
When you are doing your discussion, it is more of the variable names, not whether it's independent or dependent. So this is the name, the exo is independent, and then the endo is the dependent variable. So exo for independent, the exo for independent variable, and then the endo for dependent variable. All right, so that is that. Once you are okay, then let me move on to the model. Okay, so if that is the case, then the trust here is now independent variable. So what name can we give it to it? That is the exo. And now this is the receiving side, performance becomes a dependent variable. So it becomes endo. Okay, so these are the names that we give it to. In some books, you also see latent variables. They are latent or endo because we cannot easily measure performance. We measure performance through these 5 questions or construct. So in most books, you see construct. If you don't see constructs and then you see dependent or you see endo, they are the same thing. Just a name that we give it to once you move from one area to another. This is another special area, a higher statistical analysis technique that we use. So when you come to this side, these are the names that we also give to the techniques. But at the end of the day, they don't make any impact on your model. All right. So we try to go through the various approach or how we can, okay. Auntie Jackie, your hand is up.
Yes, please.
All right.
I would like to understand something.
Okay.
You mentioned that when the arrow is direct, you have it means that it's correlating.
Okay.
And then you have the other one where you link trust with the, let's say, spirit, and you said that is covariant.
Okay.
I hope I got it right.
Yes.
But what I don't understand is that the items, as in, let's start with TTI, TT1, sorry. Why are the arrows, the head of the arrow directing to the item and not to the trust?
Okay. So if you could remember, I said that there is something we call the second order. The second order. You remember the second order. So this one is also looking at, you see, reward. Reward is here. How do we measure reward? We measure the reward through this. Okay, so reward itself over here, as it stands now, there are no questions for it. Okay, so before you can measure reward, then it says that measure it through this. That is why I said that with the second order, the arrow will point to the other side, the other side, instead of like from here to now. Team Spirit has got items now. So now we know that these are the items that are measuring Team Spirit. So then we can take Team Spirit from here and then move it to this side. Are you getting it?
Yeah, I've gotten it.
Okay.
I've gotten it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Please, any other question? We need to understand this side first.
So please, I am assuming you have items for, let's say, trust. How
Okay.
would the arrow be like?
You said, assuming you have.
Assuming you have items under trust.
Yes. And then
Hello.
the items measuring trust. These are the items.
Yeah.
These ones, they are measuring trust. So now, for now, we've been able to take care of trust now. So now this is trust.
Okay.
But as I said, you can't easily measure trust unless you measure it through this set of items or questions.
All right.
All right, so this is just a sketch. So let's try to fit our own model. This is just a sketch of it. So now, these are so I want to fit a new model. We want to fit a new model. So I just click on this file here, click on it, and then I can say new. So I click on new. So I have this blank space. So there's nothing. When you launch the application for the first time, this is what you see. You see something like a paper, this one. This is all that you see. Okay, so if you click.
Please, can you go over?
All right. What I'm saying is, if you want to fit a new model, you just go to the file here. Or if you launch it for the first time, if you launch the application for the first time, you have not used it before, and you have installed it on your system. Once you launch it, the first thing that you see is this pie screen. There will be nothing here. You only see this empty space. So this is where you need to do all your drawings. Please don't worry if you are not able to get a nice network like what I have, like this particular one. Okay, for the beginning, you have 1 or 2 issues drawing, but if you do 1 or 2, 3, 4 times in terms of the practice, you will get it. And the arrangement doesn't matter. How nice it is has no impact on the model. Okay, it is the results that you need, not the way the structure is. If you want to copy the structure and paste it in your work, that is fine. But I don't see anything wrong you drawing anything, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get beauty, then you will try as much as possible to arrange them. So you can try to arrange them nicely for yourself. But if you don't want that type, you can just ignore it as it is and then you move on. All right, so if you want to get a new sheet, you just click on the file here and then you select new. So when you select new, this is what you get. You get this empty space.
If you just
hello.
If you just copy this one,
We can't hear you, sir.
you charge for play.
Your network.
Yeah,
Hello. Okay. But if you have questions, you can also type. You can type so that we get it. All right. So this is what you have. So if you click on the file here, you'll get to see some of the things, new with template and so on. Then edit too has got some things over the view. Now let me just move to the interface properties. Interface properties. Now this is just a paper size, a normal A4 paper. So if you don't want the portrait, but you want it to be in a landscape form, then you can just change it here. The difference between the landscape and then that of the portrait in terms of this framework is that you could have more of construct here. So if you have more of the construct, then you can fit it in this format. But if you have fewer of them and you want to get beauty, then it will be appropriate to change the paper size so that you can space them. As you can see over here, they will be close, okay, together. So if you want to get enough space in between them with limited number of constructs, then it will be appropriate for you to change the paper size. And very simple to change the paper size. You just go to the view interface properties. If it is portrait, you change it to landscape. The moment you change it, you could see that now it has extended. The width is now increased, or it has increased the width from this side up to this side. So you can have fewer of them here, especially if you have this kind of middle construct, so that you can get the beauty that maybe you are talking of. So that is how to change the paper size. Very, very important to just note that depending on the number of construct that you have, you should try as much as possible and see if you can structure it on the paper. You can do it yourself and see if I should put all these constructs here, will I be able to fit everything? Will I be able to get it in that nice way that I want? If not, try and see if you can change the paper size. All right. Now, the other approach or the other technique that we'll be using is this side. We'll be using this side a little. Few of them we will use it. And then this side, most of them are here. So this is where we'll be doing all the techniques, all the selection. All right, this is what we use to move. As you see, a car, it's like a small car. If you want to move one construct from its position to the other, you use this particular icon here. Now, if you realize that some of the items are not significant in the model, maybe question 4, T4 is not significant in the model and you want to remove it, we use this particular item. You just click on it and then you cut it. If you want to also rotate the model, the construct, you use this one. So at least this is some of the basic things that we'll be using. So let's start with today's, let's say with the conceptual framework that we have. Kindly observe it once again. Let me show it. This is what we are building. This is what we want to build. So just note it. This is the kind of network that we want to build. Okay, so just note it in that manner. Note it. Note it down. Note it down, and then we can move on. Okay. All right. So once you've been able to observe it, let's move on to the data set. So I have entered the data in the SPSS. This is what I have. So this is the data set. You can see something like gender, age, and then this is I. This is I, this is C, C1, C2, C3, and so on. They represent the construct names. So the T is just standing for the trust, S is for satisfaction, and so on, as you can see over here. So that is that. So in each session, the interactivity has 5 questions. This is customization has 5. Usefulness has 5, ease of use has 5, responsiveness has 5, brand image has 5, satisfaction has 5, then trust has also 5. So 5 questions each. 5 questions each. So I just take my model. So this is what I have. Okay, so I need to be able to draw the sketch first. So now I know that I have 5 constructs, items under the 7 construct. So how should I structure it so that all of them can fit well in the space provided? So let me try. So you just click on this small button here. It says draw. If you point on it, you see draw a latent variable or add an indicator to a latent variable. So I just click on it, The moment you click on it, it becomes active. So you can see something like some small circle, and then it has 3 fingers up. So you just click here, click in this empty space. Anyway, you click, once you click, and then you leave the cursor, click again, click in it, 1, click again, 2, click again, 3, click again, 4 and 5. So you have 5 questions to this particular construct. Go to the next place, you can move it a little, and then also click 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because now you know that you have 5 questions each. So you come to this side also, click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You come to this session, also click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come to this session, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me do it faster. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 constructs. So let me count them. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have all the 8 constructs here. Okay. So then I can undo this one, uncheck this one. All right. Now I'm about to rotate the items, the constructs. So I want, before then, let me name them. So this is trust. If you want to name the construct, just click in here. You just click here, then right click. If you right click, you see object properties. You click on it, and then it says variable name. Just type the variable name there. So this is trust. Then we just click cancel it. Now the next variable is customer satisfaction. So you can decide to say satisfaction. It's not necessary for you to write the entire name. At the end of the day, you know it already. Satisfaction. Okay, so you have satisfaction there, and you can have, we are trying to name all of them. This is a brand. You can decide to make it brand. Okay, because of the space. Then right click this one, and you name it as responsiveness. Response. If you want to name it as response, that is fine. Then you right click the next one, then ease of use. So ease, you can make it ease. Okay, then another one will be usefulness. So useful, you can make it useful. Then the next one becomes you customize, so custom, you customize it, customization, that if you want to write it in full. Then the next one is the interact. Okay, so inter. Okay, you can also make it like this. So once you've been able to name all of them, we try as much as possible to position them at their respective places as you want it to, or as you have on your conceptual framework. At least it will be nice for it to be in that manner. So if you want to move the items and then the construct together, as you can see here, if I try to click on the move item here, click on it and then click on move, it will only move the construct name. It will move these small things. It will not move it. So if you want to move everything together, check this one also, preserve symmetries. This small thing that you see here, like a flower, you just click on it, and then the moment you click, you can move everything together. So now trust should be at this extreme end here. Then we have customer satisfaction. We want to position customer satisfaction here. Now for the rest, we can try to position them anyhow. We don't have any specific arrangement. But if you still want to go by what it is on the conceptual framework, then the interact will come, customization will come, useful will come, ease of use, responsiveness, and then brand image will come. Then you have the middle one, which is satisfaction to trust. So let me also do it as it is. Let me do it as it is. But I can see that I'm not able to get everything. If I try to move all of them, I'll be left with this particular items. They will also be outside. So let me see if I can change the paper size to a portrait for it to take all. So let me just change it to portrait and then apply. Now, let me see. Now you can see that I have a lot of space. So then I can bring ease of use. The brand is the last one. Then responsiveness should come here. And then ease of use will be here. The usefulness will be there. And then customization, the interactivity would also be here. So I have this. Now, satisfaction is here, trust is also there. As you can see, I can decide to fit my model, link the various lines with it. But maybe I want to see some kind of beauty in my model. So let me try to do some small manipulation. Let me try to rotate some of them, the items, so that these items can go to the other end. So I click on rotate, as you can see, rotate. I click on the rotate, then come and click on the construct name. So if I click, it will move. If I click, it will move. Let me rotate this one also, rotate this one. I'm rotating all of them so that they can face a particular direction, and then try to position them nicely on the screen. So let me see, let me arrange them nicely. Let me arrange them. Definitely some of them will overlap, but don't worry. We can put this one here. After some modification, you will bring it back. Let's try to push this so that at least you will see it work. Okay, so we have these things here. Have it in mind that brand is the last one. So have you been able to design your let's say your framework? This is your framework that you have. The next thing is to bring your data set into the software. As it stands now, there is no data with the software for the software to work on. There is no data. You have just been able to draw the various networks that you want to connect. But before you connect, it is appropriate to bring the data into the model. All right. So if you want to bring the data, oh, sorry, please, am I going too fast?
It's okay.
It's okay.
All right. Okay. So you can draw my attention if I'm going too fast. All right. So once I'm done with it, then I can bring the data set. So if you want to bring the data set, you click on this small box here. If you point the cursor on it, it says select data. Select data file or files. So you just click on it. When you click on it, it will ask you the location of your data set. Where do you have the data set? The location for the data set, where? So you need to go and look for the location of the data set. So I am browsing, depending on where you have your data, depending on where you have your data set. So I'll click on the file name, and then the system will take me to where I can locate my data. So I'm just going to look for my data set, and I think it will not be shown on the screen because I have not shared that. Or can you see?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So then, once you can see, then I select CFA. Then I click on open. Once I click on open, the name of the file will be here. And then the number of observation, or let's say the number of respondents in the data set, or who responded to the questions, will be shown. So I have 343 respondents who form part of this study. All right. So once I just have it like this, I click on OK. The moment I click on OK, now the data is in the software. So I have to be able to tell the software will not know whether A, B, C, D will come to customization. 1, 2, 3 will go to usefulness. It doesn't know. So you need to be able to instruct the software. So for you to see the data set that you have just introduced into the software, you just click on this small button here. This small button. This small, it says list variables in the data set. You click on it. It will show you all the items or all the questions that you have. All the questions that you just brought, or let's say all the data set that you brought to the software, everything will be shown here for you. So you know that T is trust. So meaning trust questions will be related to this particular construct. If it is satisfaction, satisfaction is on S. So all such questions will come to this side. Usefulness will be U, and so on. So that is how you do to pick your item for the construct. So I'm going to pick the construct starting with trust. So I'm going to pick the items. So I click on the first one, click and then move it. So this is T1. I click, please ensure that the box is highlighted with red color before you leave it. Other than that, it will not be able to get in. So you click, as you see it's highlighted red, then you leave it. You click again, you move it, you drag it small, and then you leave it. You click and move, you click and move, you click and move till you get everything done. So once you are done, you move to the next one, satisfaction. Satisfaction, S1. So you click and you move, you click and then you move, you click and then you move, click, move, you click again and then you move. Now, the next thing is I have a brand. So brand 2 is BI. So I click on BI 1, I move it 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So I have it like this. Then the next thing is responsiveness. So I click on first one, move it, second one, move, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay, I click on it and then also do it like that. Then is. The next thing is. So let me is. So 1, move it, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. All right. Then usefulness would follow. Usefulness will follow. So I click on it and then move it. So I fill the last one. Okay. All right. Then customization. I click on it. Okay. This is custom. Okay. Now, the next thing is interact. So I click 1, move, 2, we have, okay, we have 3 there. Let me move the 3, the 4th, and then that of the 5th. Okay, so you are done with, okay, a question. All right. All right, so once you are able to fit this, the next thing is we see some 0, small boxes here. Okay, what you do is you need to, these are the errors associated with the model, and allow the software to do it for you. So we click on hello.
Hello.
All right.
We are here.
Any question, please? Please, any question?
No question for now, Mr. Asari.
Oh, okay. And we thank God. I think we see ask question. No?
Okay, I have a question. Since that
Okay.
you wanted
All
to,
right.
hello?
Okay, please, you can go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to ask about regards to the data.
Okay.
Does it mean when you do it, should it be entered into Excel as you do it, as with other, as is done with other data for research?
Oh yeah.
Especially when it comes to SPSS in Excel.
Yeah. You can do it. You can enter the data in Excel. You can also do it in SPSS. But because most of your things you'll be working with SPSS, AMOS, I'm thinking that it will be appropriate if you have the data already in SPSS, so that you can just move in. Okay, ideally, we should do some descriptive, or we should try and run some normal reliability on the data set as we did the other time.
Okay.
You can do all those things with the SPSS, because, for instance, if it is a long thesis, a thesis that you are writing, let's say, for instance, a thesis that you are writing, or you are supervising some sort of student, you would expect them to do some preliminary analysis, run the frequency, determine the demographic profile of the study, and all these things in SPSS. Okay, so I'm thinking that it will be appropriate if you can if you can put everything in SPSS so that we can export it to the software.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. All right. Okay, so as I said, we will not be able to add the errors one after the other. So we are going to tell the software to do it for us. With this one, we were able to do it by ourselves. We just tried to move them from one point to the other. So that is why you can see C1, C2, C5, and so on. But when it comes to the error, it is not easy for you to name it by yourself. So we will tell the software to do it for us. So we click on this plus.
I've not shown your screen. No.
My screen. Wow.
Yes, the screen is not showing.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, then let me, okay, let me share that. Okay. All right. So once we have been able to do it, as I said, we will not be able to fix the errors by ourselves. So we will try and ask the system to fix it for us. So we click on the plugs in here, and then you will see name on observed variables. So you would click on it, and then the system will name everything for you. These are the errors. It will name all of them. You can see E1, E1, E2, and so on. So these are the errors associated with it. Yeah. All right.
Hello, Sir Ike.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to take you back. I missed that session regarding the error, how you inserted the error.
All right. So let me see. Okay, let me undo it. So it's now gone.
Okay.
Okay. So we need to be able to associate the errors to each of the items. Remember, a normal regression has got error. In any form of analysis that we do, there is a small portion of or a margin of errors associated based on the response that you get. So in this situation too, errors are attributed to each of the question or the items. So you can see with this one, it is an error to satisfaction 1. This one is the error to BI5 and so on. But I said it will not be easy for you to just name them by yourself.
Okay.
So why don't you allow the system to do the naming for you?
Okay.
So we just click on the plugs in here. Plugs in here, and then you select name unobserved variables. So the moment you click on it, it will name all of them for you.
Okay.
So you will not have any challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So,
Sorry.
all right. Yes, sir.
Please, is it also possible to name the items as we did one by one? Is it possible to let the system name it for you? Just like it has done for the errors.
Okay, so we are saying that the system should be able to name the construct for you. Is it a construct or the... Hello, Master Solo.
The items.
The item. No, the system will not be able to do it for you.
Yeah, I'm saying as we let the system name. Okay. Thank you.
With the errors, the system can do that, but when it comes to the items, it cannot determine whether this one should be here or there.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So once you have...
Mr. Sorry.
Yes, madam.
Please, the errors I've been given numbers.
Yes.
Any reason for that? Because I am not sure. I can't find L1, L2, but I can see from 20 something on 18 or 16 to.
You can't see error 1. They are all there. Let me, maybe this is error 6, error 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me see.
So where is error 1?
It's at satisfaction.
Where is it? No.
It starts with 31.
No.
Yes. It is a continuation of. Remember, I have done some work already.
Oh, okay.
It nails the errors in that manner.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
That is why it is starting from that.
But it has no impact on maybe
no.
the result. Okay.
It has no, because we don't even worry ourselves with the reporting of the errors. Unless you want to do a detailed analysis of everything. Are you getting it?
Yes, please.
So we don't worry ourselves so much.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's continue. Let's continue. All right. So we start from try to link them together. Now, even if you look at the boxes, the boxes that we have, some of them are big. So we can also tell the system to speed them for us, to minimize them for us. Okay, so we still go to the plugs in, we click on it, and then we say resize observed variables. So let me click on it for you to see. So it will try to, minimize the boxes so that the variable name can fit in well. Okay. But with a construct, it will not fit it in it. It will not force it to be in it, but the items, it will do it. So you can decide to, if you, for instance, satisfaction. Now we see the name is even, it has gone beyond the circle or the box. So if you want to at least ensure that it fits in well, you can just use this, change the shape of the object. You click on it, change the shape of the object. You click on it, and then you try to increase it to fit in the box, okay, in a circle. So if you're okay with this one, that is fine. Then you can uncheck this one so that you can move this one inside a little. Uncheck this one and take the move command. So you can move it a little to this side. Okay. So once you've been able to do this, let's try to move them, arrange them well, and see. You can click here and squeeze it a little. You can click here and squeeze it a little so that this side can come here. The next one is usefulness can come here. Then you move it a little to this side. That is if you want beauty. This one is about beauty. If you want beauty, that is fine. Okay. Then responsiveness would also follow. Okay, let me try to move it a little. Then the brand will also follow. Okay, so you have it like this. Let me move this one a little. Okay. All right. Now I have my satisfaction here. I have my trust here. Okay. If you want to change the direction of satisfaction, fine, that will be, let's try to move. If you want to bring the trust down so that you can get beauty, that is fine. If you want to do it like this too, anyhow you want it. It depends on how you want it, depending on the space that you have. Okay. Okay. So we are going to connect the various lines. So we click on the arrow. We are moving from interact to satisfaction, then customs to satisfaction, usefulness to satisfaction, ease to satisfaction, responsiveness to satisfaction, brand to satisfaction. And then satisfaction will bring it to trust. So as I said, we have two main independent variables here. One is satisfaction, two main dependent variables. Here, satisfaction is a dependent variable to this. And then trust is also a dependent variable to satisfaction. Now, every dependent variable has what is called an error. So if you want to fix like what we have here, you need to come and pick this particular command here. You click on it, and then you come here, make sure that the circle is highlighted red. You click, and then you leave it. Then you come and click on this button, click, and then you leave. Then you also tell, when you are done, you tell the system to fit the errors to it. So we click on the plugs in, then it says name unobserved variables. So the system will continue with the naming. It will name it from 45, then it moves to 46, and then 47. All right. So once you are done and you are sure you've been able to fit it right, the next thing is you can use this touch up a variable. You can click on it, this small thing like a toucher or something. You click on it and then you point it to the construct. It will try to fit its word, the line, like as you can see. It will fit it well for you. Okay. All right. All right. So
please, can you go over again?
All right. Okay.
Just the latter part.
Okay. To get, all right, let me undo it. All right. So I'm saying that if you want to fit, if you want the item, the lines to fit well to the construct, like this is the line that I'm talking of. These lines, the various lines like this. Some of them might not fit well. Okay.
Okay.
Beauty, because of beauty. So you come and pick this command here, you click on it, and then you touch the construct name. If you touch it, it will try to fit the line wall. Okay. If you look at it, it was, look at where it is. But when I pick it and click on it, you realize that it will move it to this place. Then if I click on this one also, it will try to fit it well. So you can do it for all the constructs, and then their item, just to ensure that they are behaving well. But still, if you think the way the system has done it, you don't like it, you can still come and pick the move command here and try to, maybe you want it to be here. That is fine. But ensure that it is highlighted, then you can move it. Okay, so anyhow you want it, it is your style that you want, so you can fit it well. And if you think the system one is not nice, you can fit it very well. You can also try to position them well. Okay, you can move this one here a little. You can move it there a little. So it all depends on you. As I said, it has no impact on your analysis. Okay, so if you've been able to fit this one, the next thing that you need to do, is to run it and see. But before then, you need to save it. As you can see, we have not saved the work. So we need to save it. But there's something that I must say. This program comes with a lot of extensions. It comes with a lot of extensions, different files. So you need to create a different folder for it. A separate folder that will host everything. And then that, if maybe you are saving it at your desktop, the time you realize it will scatter the entire desktop with so many extensions, so many files. So please get a dedicated folder for this analysis so that it will save all its extension files in it. All right, so I'm going to save it. So I click on save. Save the current path diagram. Now, because this is my first time, I have to look for the location. I'm saving it in my training file. So I have to look for the file name and then save it. Let's say CFA1. I'm saving it as CFA1. Okay, so I click on save. So now it is safe. You can see CFA1, name 1. CFA1. This is it. All right. So I am done. I've been able to fit the model. But for me to be sure that the model is working, over here, as I'm even talking to you, I don't know if this model will run. As at now, I don't know. Aha. So we should all pray that it runs. Other than that, you need to do everything afresh, because you might not know where the problem is coming from. Maybe you pick a certain variable twice. Maybe C1, you have picked it twice. You picked it here and then you picked it at the other place. Or maybe you do not, a whole lot of things. So you need to be very, very careful when it comes to selecting the variables. And there are some few things. If your model will not run, it depends on some of these things that I said. One is you picking the wrong items. Items with, or a question with a missing value. If you have a missing value in the data set and you do not check, it will not run. Aha. There are so many things. Okay, if the system the sample size is not adequate enough for the data, for the model, it will not also run. So sometimes there are so many things, but let's pray and hope that this time around it runs for us. Okay, so once I have done that, I have to run. So if I want to run, first I need to save. Click on the save button again for it to save. So it is saved. Now I click on this button. You see calculate estimate. So now we are telling the system to do some, it should do some computation here for us. So I will click on it. But for me to be sure that the model is now working, or let's say I can proceed to do other things, there should be 2 lights here, indicators. There should be 2 lights, traffic lights here. You should see these 2 lights being active. If they are not active, then there is a problem. As I said, I might not know where the problem is coming from. So what I need to do is, sometimes I need to redraw the diagram again, one after the other. I draw the first one, I fit it and see if it will run. I draw the second one, fit it and see if it will run, and so on. So that is sometimes another approach. If you don't want to be in that soup, then it will be appropriate for you to try fitting it one after the other. So by the time you are done, you know that everything is working. But this one, we did everything together at a go. So let me run it and see. Let me run it and see. Okay, so I click on the procedure calculate estimate. Click on it. Click on it. It will give you certain options. It says Amos will require the following pairs of variables to be uncorrelated. That is the covariance. It is required you to do that, but if that is not what you want, you can proceed with the analysis. If there's nothing wrong with your model should be working. Other than that, as I said, you need to go and look for where the problem is coming from. So you click on proceed. But if you say cancel, then it means you want to correlate, run some kind of covariance between the variables. But we will come to that. So we click on proceed. We just want to see if it will run. Proceed with the analysis. So click on it. So the system will be terminating as you see here. Wow, we thank God. I am even happy myself. All right.
Clap for yourself.
I am happy. And I have to start the whole thing afresh. Yeah. So once it runs, you get these two lights here. These two lights will be active for you as you come. One goes up and then one comes down.
Please, I missed that too. I missed it.
Okay. All right. What I'm saying is that once you've been able to link the various constructs together, able to bring your data in, everything is okay. You have checked the errors, everything is in order. The next thing is to run the model and see if it is going to terminate or is going to convert or is going to get a solution. Now, I said you see two main lights here. Okay.
Yes.
One goes down, one goes up. Yes. So I'm saying that if you click on compute or run
calculations
end of day, you do not get the two lights being active, then it means there is something wrong with the relationship that you have established here.
Okay.
And it could be as a result of one, the sample size could be one, the two, it could be as a result of the missing observation or missing value in it. It could also be that you have these items repeating itself somewhere. Maybe C3 is found at this point, C3. Okay, you have C3 here, another C3 here. It will create confusion in the system. Or you have a name that the system understands. There are some reserved names in the model. Reserved names like a name like or. Okay, those with computer science background. If you say or in computing, it means something. So if you are writing certain codes or certain application, and you want to give a variable name, you can't say or, okay, or something like end. It's something that the system understands that if you say end, it means this. So the moment you use some of these reserved words, the system will not run. And you will be asking yourself several questions. Why? So if you are not able to indicate where the problem is coming from, then it means you need to redo the whole thing again. Okay, so that is that. So once you click on this compute, calculate estimate, and the light is now active, if it is active here, as you can see, then you can say that you have a solution. So then you can go ahead and check your results. All right. Now, if I click on this particular one, you will see some values showing on the path. I hope you can see. You can see some values. Or it is not showing. Okay, you can see some values here, estimate.
Yeah.
So these are the estimates that the system has been able to compute for us. In fact, if it is a normal regression equations and they ask us to solve, we cannot solve. Because this is a normal quadratic or let's say linear regression equations. The system should be able to take this and compute everything together. It is not easy, but with just a click, just look at the results that you have. So you could see that our leaders in statistics, they have really done well. Previously, they used to do this one manual. Yeah, which is very, very difficult to do. But now, because we have softwares, we have been able to program all these ideas into this software for easy analysis of data. All right, so the results that you see here are unstandardized. They are unstandardized. If they are unstandard, okay, a question. Auntie Jacqueline.
Yes, please. Please, can you highlight it looks small for my likeness.
It looks
small. If you can increase it so that it's like I'm seeing, is it dot or negative?
Let me see if, is it
okay? Oh, okay. So it's 0.0 something.
Yes, it's
4.1. Okay, I was seeing it like negative.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this is like negative 0.
Okay, so in this case, the negative here, what is it representing, and the positive one?
Okay, so
maybe I can guess that the positive is like where the arrow is now. Okay. It's representing, let's say, 10% or
this one. All right, for
instance, the down one around useful, between useful one. And then yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this one is just looking at from usefulness to satisfaction. Okay, the influence that usefulness has on satisfaction is if it is in percentage, then this one is approximately 10%. So this is, let's say, how usefulness can influence satisfaction. But you could see that it is positive. So an increase in this will also impact or have positive impact on this. But if it is negative, that is inversely related. So it's like if customization decreases, satisfaction increases, and vice versa. If it is negative.
Please come again for that one.
Okay, if it is negative, then we are saying that it is inversely related. So it's like one goes down, the other goes up. Okay, so if it decreases, the other one goes up. And then if one also goes up, the other one comes down. That is if it is negative. But if it is positive, then it means that if usefulness increases by 1 unit, then it's likely that satisfaction will go up by approximately, let's say, 10%.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So that is the meaning to that. All right.
But so, what is this significant, or it has nothing to do with that?
Oh no, this one is just giving you the
percentage of its contribution, right?
Yes, we are not there yet. We are not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Whether it is significant or not. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Please, any question?
Yes, please.
All right, let's
since we are discussing the figures, I'm sorry, I got up a little, so I missed out on the E10, E9, those figures, 11, 12, 13, U5, U1, those things, please.
Oh, okay, so they are the what's the name? The errors. The associated with the estimate. The errors associated with the estimate.
Okay.
If you have 20 of the items, it will try to fit the errors to each of the 20 items for you. So you can see this is E31, you can see this is E26, and so on with their estimate. So every item has a corresponding estimate, error estimate. So they are just errors associated with each construct.
Okay, so what about the figures, letters and figures in the boxes?
Okay, so these are the items. So for instance, satisfaction. Satisfaction has 5 questions. This one. Satisfaction has 5 questions. Trust has 5 questions. That is T1, trust 1, trust 2, trust 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yes. So these are the questions that we ask under, let's say, trust. And then 5 questions under satisfaction.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right. Okay. Please, any other question?
Sorry. The E47 on trust, and then there's another one on satisfaction. Why does it come about? How did you get that one, or what does it represent?
Okay. With this one, as I said, with the construct also, if it is a dependent variable, if it is given as a dependent variable, then also attribute it, or it should have an error associated with it.
Okay.
If you can see over here, they are not dependent, they are independent. So there is no error to the construct here on this side. But because we are seeing satisfaction and then trust as a dependent variable, that is why we are adding the errors to it. In fact, if you do not add it, it will not run. This is one of the things too that you must also take note. If dependent variable in it, and then you fail to add the error margin to it, it will not run.
Okay.
And then another one too, I easily forgot. If you can see, okay, let me take away this. It's also very, very important that if you mix it, you will sit behind the system the whole day, you know where the problem is coming from. Okay, let me. Okay, you can see this. There is one here.
Please, we can't hear you. We can't.
Just now. Okay. All right. But I hope now it's okay.
And we can see you, but we can't see the screen.